the people that run them that are fucking crooked. Why would they worry about us? We're only the Kottonmouth Kings, we don't do nothing. Smoke weed and spread love, it's about it. My favorite song. I gotta say, every song is my favorite song to do. I love doing them all. I can't say I like doing one more than the other. I just love doing them when a song hits. That's what it is right there. It's all about the moment.
So I've been going back and taking a look through all these different interviews, and obviously I'm making these videos, so I have like a lot of information that I've seen because I've gone through a lot of interviews in regards to all this stuff. And one of the things I started to realize that nobody really touches on is the fact that this whole thing between Zinger and Brad, Zinger and Daddy X, is just that. It's between Zinger and Daddy X. Zinger has been saying he's been paying people and this and that, but no royalty reports have been going out. Daddy X, the way he thinks things are professionally done is by giving people royalty reports, how they're doing. For sake of argument, if you go and work somewhere and you get a paycheck, you get a pay stub. When these guys are working, they're not getting anything. They're getting paid, but they're not getting any type of report to prove or show how they're doing. And that didn't sit right with Daddy X. So immediately Daddy X started believing that Zinger has now been pulling a zinger on people, basically. Pulling one over on people, thinking that, well, if you're not getting a royalty report, how do we know that you're getting paid what you're supposed to be getting paid? How do we know that you sold this X amount of copies and you're getting paid X amount of dollars out of that? You know, so that is where the problem lied. It didn't lie with the artists and Zinger. It lied with Brad and Zinger, Daddy X and Zinger. Daddy X is partners with Zinger. No one else was partners. The band, yeah, it's the manager or whatever, and it was kind of weird that Zinger would put all that stuff in his own name, the YouTube, the website, the Facebook, like all these different things would go into his own name. Once Daddy X started wanting to take a look at this stuff, he got locked out of all of it. So it's not a fight between everybody versus Zinger, which is what it's constantly seemed like. It's Kottonmouth Kings versus Zinger. It's all these artists versus Zinger, and it's not. It's a feud between two owners. Everybody else has nothing to do with this stuff. Nobody has anything to do with the money that Subnoise made. Subnoise Records is Zinger and Daddy X, Brad. They and whatever money's in that bank account is for both of them. And from what I'm looking and hearing is that Zinger was taking money out for Renegade management and taking money from Subnoise and putting it into other businesses, money that apparently large sums of money. And what I'm assuming is that he was, because Daddy X is saying put the money back. Now, if it was just his amount of money, like, okay, you need authorization to pull the money out and everything, but if it's his portion, then it's his portion, and like, you don't really need that much authorization to pull some, like, if you, depending on how much money's in the bank account, you don't really need that much authorization to pull money out. You know, just like going forward, make sure you're telling each other. But I'm assuming that because it was such a big deal like that, in the books that he's seeing, Daddy X starts thinking, man, if he's pulling this much out, he's probably dipping into my portion of this money to fuel his business adventures. He's using my money, and I'm not getting anything out of it. It's like going and getting a loan and getting the loan at no interest rate. The people that are loaning the money aren't getting anything out of it. They're putting this risk up for this money with no upside, just downside. If it's gone, it's gone, and they lose the money. They don't get paid back. The whole point of, like, nobody would loan money if they weren't going to make some type of money on it. And Daddy X is seeing this stuff, and he's asking his artists, you know, like, when's the last time you've seen a royalty report? They're like, I haven't seen one, like, since the day that we started, basically. And he's like, no, that's not good. Nobody, the thing is that nobody's business savvy like that except for Daddy X. So Daddy X understands that something's wrong. No one else understands that, which is why nobody spoke up. Nobody said anything about these royalty reports or anything seeming shady. And D-Lo comes out with this new 2021 or late 2020 or whatever that interview was that I had, saying that everything was fully transparent. No, it wasn't. If you're not getting royalty reports, nothing's transparent. You might be getting paid or whatever, and everything was all good and shit. But realistically, Daddy X said he's not getting paid. And if everything's being transparent, D-Loc, what the fuck were you wearing hostility for? You're still gonna say that Daddy X is the robber, you know, the scumbag? I would say that Zinger started it, and maybe this is the aftermath of everything, because Daddy X is sick of it. And Zinger, had Zinger not been being shady and not giving him the books that he needed so that he could look at everything and see where the money was going, probably realizing that his portion of his money's being used without his knowledge, well, if that's the case, I'd be pretty mad too. And then he asks people to go in on this lawsuit. Nobody else wants to go in on it with him. So now he's got to do it himself. He gets all the albums and everything. So he wins those in the lawsuit. And you guys, and D-Loc's gonna be mad that he sells the all the albums? You can't really be mad. Subnoise owns those albums, not D-Loc, not the artist. This has been a mainstream music thing. This has been always in this industry. The label owns it. Subnoise owns that stuff. They can sell it. They can do whatever they want with it. And at that point, after he got all that stuff, Daddy X was the sole owner. Therefore, Daddy X owned those. Of course, you know, people write stuff all the time. It doesn't mean that you own it. It means that you wrote it and that you get royalties on it. It doesn't mean that you can sell it. The label that owns the music owns it. But the biggest thing is that people are really getting this misconstrued, and there's a misconception here that it's everybody versus Zinger, and that's not the case, which is exactly why you see artists working with Zinger. Zinger's a con. Zinger is a con. Matter of fact, this is the type of person you're working with. Take a look at this. This is his dad. Now check this out right here. Jim and they are family. Kevin and Jim are both family. Back in 96 and back years and years ago, they both have this address. Kevin has absolutely cut everything off. I had looked this up prior, and I had found his dad, and I just was looking around now, and when I looked in the same area, his dad was nowhere to be found. Kevin he's trying to isolate himself, but he's isolating himself for some reason right now. He's blocking everything. Now check this out. What the fuck are you hiding, dude? What are you hiding? This is where he's at right now. I have seen this. What are you hiding, bro? What the fuck are you hiding? This is where he's at. Right here. And it's blurred out. It's fucking blurred. But this is the type of person that we're dealing with. This is the type of person Zinger is. His dad is a hypnotist, okay? Hypnosis is not real. It's a con. It's a fucking con. And that is what we're dealing with. And what he did was he made sure that these artists and stuff were all taken care of or whatever. But you gotta realize, you gotta read between the lines. Where's Dirtball? Look at what Dirtball has said about everything. Dirtball has clearly made his position known by the song he made, Robbery, and by the interview he did stating that everything was flipped upside down, and it's crazy to see that your work has been stolen from you, basically. And that is why Dirtball doesn't want nothing to do with it. These other guys, they all have a history with Zinger. They've all worked with Zinger already. They're used to the way he works. Dirtball had came in, been joined up a little bit later. Let's take a look. He was with Fundamental Records prior to this. 2005, he finally made it into Suburban Noise. Not SRH, Suburban Noise. That's when he finally started joining in. And it just sucks, you know? It really just sucks that this type of stuff had been going on. Fundamental Records is where he was. He wasn't with it. He wasn't with them. Obviously, Dirtball knows. He's got the dirt on him. And he didn't want to go back. The other guys have history with him. They didn't have the beef, remember? Daddy X is the one that got screwed over here. Daddy X is the one that's money got cut off, not being paid. But remember, D-Loc was wearing hostility. Wasn't getting paid from SRH. They give him certificates. They tell him that they're part owner. They blow it up. They put the spade on everything. Then all of a sudden, you find out that you thought that like this wasn't this greedy cutthroat business, and that's what Zinger made it. He made it like that. So when you see D-Loc acting a fool, when you see these guys with their knives to each other's throats, guns to everybody's head, when you turn around, they point the gun at them, point it at their back. You know who created it. You know who started it. It was Zinger. Zinger did it all. Had he just been transparent and not so cutthroat, which it's obviously something that was passed down by his con artist dad. And it pisses me off. It really pisses me off because look at where we're at now. You know, they put their life into it. They put their soul, their everything into this. And this is how they're going to be repaid. Zinger's an idiot. He's a fucking retard. I'm using that word because that's what he is. You don't do that shit when you have a good business. You let it fucking blossom. You let it go. You continue to let it thrive. Now look. Good job, Zinger. You're making tons of money now, right? Tons of money off of KMK still, huh? When you could have just been transparent and everything could have been just fine. You would have made just as much money. Instead, you want to be shady, taking money when nobody's looking because because you got drama issues that Daddy X is out on the fucking road doing tours. He's constantly out there and dealing with it himself. He brings it back, and you're a partner. You're also the band manager, and they bring it back because they need another person, because Daddy X is no longer able to do it. Just like he did say that. You know, Zinger did say that. You can't keep doing it. Eventually, you guys got to, like, get along or split up. You know? And it didn't start until Daddy X started figuring out that Zinger's screwing people over. Once that thought starts getting into people's heads, everything starts to get screwy. And no, Zinger, you said once money gets into things, once money gets involved, things get weird. It only gets weird if you make it weird. And that's what you did. You're the reason that this is all like this. And this is where I'm going to end this with the books. We're done with this part 2. Part 2 is now complete. If you guys have not watched part 2A, part 2B, this is part 2C. Please go check those parts out, because we have Daddy X talking about Pakalika in part A. And I know that a lot of people haven't seen part A. They've only seen part B. And now that I'm putting this out, because I've put these out so close together, people are missing the other parts. They're only seeing the latest part. So I really urge you to go and check out those other parts, because I get a lot of comments on them about how stuff that I'm presenting is crazy. They haven't seen it. They didn't know that this was happening like this. And we got Pakalika. We got what happened with Pakalika. You know, that who is talking crap, you know, and just trying to be the good guy so bad. Zinger's just trying to be the good guy so bad, which is what happened. It's kind of what it seems like almost, because these artists are now going back and working with him still. Because realistically, it wasn't about them. It was about Daddy X and Zinger. And now Daddy X looks like he's crazy because all the artists got paid eventually. Everybody was taken care of. Except Daddy X. The one that was taking care of everybody got screwed over. And nobody cares. Nobody ever cares about Daddy X. Nobody ever cares about the person that's taking care of everybody else. Because everybody else doesn't know how to take care of anything else. Because they're constantly being taken care of. And now, Daddy X has to do something for himself. He's got to move on. Because he opens United Family Music. And everything's transparent. But they're not making money. The artists are just not selling well enough. It's not making any money. Because of all the crap that had happened already. I mean, look at D-Loc won't even let Richter in, part of KMK, because it's not making enough. It's not as big as it used to be. These guys are used to lots of money, not like a decent amount of money. The decent amount of money is enough for just one person. It's not enough for their bills anymore. So that's why it's like this. And they open UFM. Daddy X opens UFM. They're not making enough money. And now Daddy X is trying to do these artist-friendly 50-50 deals off of stuff that he now can't manage anymore. Because they're not making enough money because of all the bullshit that just happened. So now Daddy X doesn't... Listen, Daddy X wants no part of it because he's mentioned it multiple times. He doesn't do business like that. He doesn't get down like that. He doesn't want his name associated with garbage. Kottonmouth Kings was having this issue. There's no respect in the band. Johnny Richter's leaving, doesn't care really because of issues that are going on, and we're going to go into that. Well, there's interviews of him, multiple ones. We'll go into that stuff too. I'm just getting this out here because I've seen this stuff. So you know I'm going to be putting these videos out with the truth and the proof. Daddy X wants no part of it because of all the internal back end bullshit that's going on, the disrespect. He doesn't want to be a part of it anymore because look at what's going on. Look at the disrespect that's happening right now. How is that going to it's not going to get fixed. And we need to move on. We need to cherish what we had, what had happened. And like I saw one of the comments, the mission has succeeded. I said this in another video. They did it. They were going to make music until weed was legal. And it's legal. They did what they went out to do. So now it's time for them to do what they want to do. You know? At one point, D-Loc was like, you think I'm going to be out there making music all the time? Like, I'm going to be 50 years old going bump, bump, bump. It's the sound of the 50s while they're hitting in the trunk. You know, I remember him on an interview when he did that. He's like, I'm not going to be 50 years old out on stage doing that. But look at him now. He's out there doing shit. You know, I'm not knocking him. We want to hear the music. It's not like we don't want to hear the music, but we want to hear it the right way. You know, and if that's what Kottonmouth Kings is now, that's what Kottonmouth Kings is now. You know, band split up. Nirvana had the guitarist or whatever ended up going to Foo Fighters and becoming the singer. Like, bands split up, bands change. It's just what it is, you know? So, all I'm saying is that United Family Music opened. It didn't close because of Daddy X not paying people and bullshit like that. Okay? And D-Loc said that when Daddy X got all the masters, that he didn't pay everybody their dues. So, are you telling me that Zinger also didn't pay you? And then Daddy X ended up becoming in charge of everything? And then you expected him to pay you after you guys didn't go in on the lawsuit with him? Is that what that meant? Because that's what I'm getting out of it. Zinger didn't pay everybody. And now Daddy X wins all this stuff, sells it, and you're mad because you didn't get anything out of it. That's what happens when you don't own your own music, though. UFM, it closed because there was nothing but disrespect. Daddy X is a man of dignity and honor. He's always been there. He's always been out in the front. He's been grinding. He is the hardest worker. He's not the one that's going to screw everything up after he's the one that put all the fucking work into it. All the effort into making CDs and videos and stickers and Stone Town and putting all this effort into all this stuff. I'm not saying the other guys didn't put the effort in. But what I'm saying, D-Loc really put a lot of effort in, especially once Zinger screwed that shit up and he started wearing Hostility. Yeah, I didn't see Richter doing that. I didn't see Lou Dog or any of these other guys going in like that. D-Loc is also another very hard worker, and I can't knock him for that. I mean, he even did the Daily Toke for a while. I remember that. So he was constantly on YouTube. One thing he didn't really do was interact with fans that much on YouTube specifically. But I mean, he was there and he had a schedule. And unfortunately, Will Mosley stole that all from him. Changed it to Kingmaker TV when they were Kingmaker, and that's what happens when you let somebody in charge of certain things that they don't need to be in charge of. D-Loc is now taking it upon himself to make a whole album as a solo as KMK and release that. Like, he is a hard worker, and if anybody does deserve to be able to do this, anybody who we know is going to actually put the effort in and do the work, it's D-Loc. because he's proven that he has been interested in being more than just a side person. He wants the responsibility. He wants to be able to do it. Can he do it? We're gonna find out. But Daddy X was involved in everything. These other guys were involved in little pieces here and there, a little bit along the way. You know, Daddy X was involved in 100% of this stuff. And if there were 5 different things, maybe the other guys were involved in 2 each out of the 5. But Daddy X was involved in all 5. And like I said, it wasn't making money. The artists weren't making money. There was nothing to do. You got to close down. You guys are going to have to go on your own now. You guys are going to have to go on your own way. Kottonmouth Kings is not what it used to be. I don't represent this. I don't want my name attached to this. Whatever Kottonmouth Kings is going forward, I don't want my name attached to that shit. Because it's not what I put out. It's not what I represent. So he bounced. He was the owner. He owned Subnoise. Therefore, he owned whatever he wanted to do with the songs. He is the CDs, all the albums. He can do with it whatever he wants to do, and he did. Cleopatra has those, or not Cleopatra. What the other one? It was whatever the other one is. Owns the first 4 albums. D-Loc said. Okay, so those guys can do whatever they want with those 4 albums. Just like Daddy X can do whatever he wants with these other albums. And we're not gonna see Daddy X. It is what it is. I'm ending it here, guys. We're never gonna hear where are the fucking books. We know where the fucking books are. They're all fucked up. They're all fucked up. And Zinger was pulling money out because he felt that every time a little piece of drama came in, he compensated himself. He's like, fuck it, man. If I got to do this job, if I got to do this, I'm going to compensate myself for it. And he doesn't say anything. Opens another company and is using money to fund that stuff. Go back and listen to Part B and Part A if you guys haven't. Take a listen to it because I know that it's hard, you know, a lot of people listen to the last part, and you guys got to go back and check those things out, and you'll hear all this stuff that I'm now doing a conclusion on. But this is it. This is where we're at now. So enough with the negativity. Enough with this bullshit. We're gonna go on. Next is going to probably be about Richter, and I also want to touch a little bit about like why Saint Dog left early on and stuff like that. I want to go into a little bit, but I think that Part 3 is now going to be, I'm not sure what it's going to be. It's going to be whatever I'm feeling at the moment, because if I don't do it what I feel, it's not going to come out good. But right now I'm feeling Richter. I'm feeling that I want to go through his interview and explain and splice together things about what had happened and back and forth and different interviews that have been said by different artists or different members of the band about things that he had done, why he left, was he a junkie, doing drugs and stuff. I'm going to put it out here right now that, like, the dude, I've never seen him fall over on stage. I've never seen any issues when it came time to actually perform and stuff like that. Maybe behind closed doors he was having issues or whatever, but when it came time to being in front of the public, I never saw any issues, but I did read something about some type of, those type of issues did actually happen apparently. So I'm going to be doing some research into that, and that's what's going to come up next. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, consider subscribing so that you guys can be notified whenever I post more Kottonmouth Kings stuff, because, man, I love the Kottonmouth Kings. I wish they could go back. But, guys, you can't turn back the hands of time, and sometimes Things are so broken that they're just not going to get fixed. Hopefully, these guys keep doing what they're doing separately, and maybe in the future we'll see them together. Maybe in the future they'll do a feature on each other's albums. But don't expect them to get back together. Don't expect to see Daddy X. And I don't know what they're doing with Zinger. You don't need a label anymore. You can go and make your own label. People are making their own labels nowadays. You don't have to be with Zinger just because he has, that's what it is. He's got a mansion, he's got money, and these guys just want to be with him. Loke, obviously D-Loke, like he said in the interview, has money, doesn't need to deal with that shit. We'll go through all that stuff later. Loke's got money. Dirtbog don't want to deal with the bullshit. He doesn't trust Zinger, clearly. And I don't think D-Loke trusts Zinger either. But he just hasn't really said it like that. I think he's got respect for Richter, even though he doesn't really feel very happy with him right now. He doesn't want to ruin a good thing with that. But that's it. I don't want to another 30-minute video like I did the other times. So hopefully you guys like this video. I'm out. Peace.